Welcome to Birth Your Way, Fort Collins. I am thrilled today to have Laura on the show.
Hi.
I met Laura at Peaceful Birth Company,
Yes.
doula class.
Oh my gosh, the best.
The best.
The best.
And I'm so thrilled to share her with all of you today. Laura is a doula and an IBCLC, which is basically just like your top tier lactation consultant. Is that the best way to describe it?
Keep going.
Do I have it right?
Yes.
And I'm thrilled to have her on. So Laura, let's get into it.
Yay. Thank you, Danielle. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. I love how much you love birth.
I really do.
What brought you to birth work, Laura?
Well, when I started as a nurse, I've been a nurse for 14 years.
Yeah.
Whoa.
All L&D?
Not all L&D. I actually started in critical and acute care.
Okay.
And I was going to a lot of funerals. I was getting very close with a lot of my families, and I was going to a lot of funerals. And then I was like, and we know birth work and death work, very intertwined, very intertwined. And I was like, let's try something different. And so I got a job on the postpartum floor at Beth Israel Deaconess in Boston. That's kind of what started the journey. Like that was like the first step. And it is wild to look back and be like, whoa, for the majority of my nursing career, right? 12 of the 14 years I've been working in this space and working with women and families, birthing people in general, this whole time. And just all of the little things, right? Starting out on labor and delivery or starting out on postpartum and then realizing that being a lactation consultant was a job and being insanely in awe of people who were the mechanism of the body and how it works and how incredible it is. And watching, people go through that and learning that I could support them in that and become a lactation consultant. And I've done a lot of like OBGYN, private practice, big hospitals, small hospitals. It's always kind of been around though. So my mom's mom and my dad's mom, Marjorie and Vivian, they were nurses in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. And they were nurses on the labor and delivery floor at Berkshire Medical Center now. I'm not sure if it was called something different then, but they would carpool together to work. They were friends way before my parents ever met, way before my parents got married.
Wow.
I know. So it just feels very, that also coming into this work on my own and not knowing that, and then having my mom casually mention that story, right? It was just, I was like, yeah, of course. Like, of course I love this work. Of course I do. Of course this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And now, of course, to be able to support people, right, with lactation and feeding and also on the other side of the bed, right, instead of a bedside labor and delivery nurse, to be able to support in a doula role is the best thing. It's the best thing in the world. It's everything that I love about labor and delivery and having that role and none of the stuff that I don't.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, because I think that's such a beautiful thing you bring. Like you were an L&D nurse for many, many years. Are you still doing L&D work? Is it mainly doula and lactation?
I'm not. It's essentially doula and lactation and obviously lots of education. But I stepped away last November. So it's been over a year now since I was on the labor and delivery floor at PVH. Yeah, as a nurse.
Yeah,
of course I've been there as a doula.
Yeah.
Which is always so fun. But
fully welcomed back.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's the best.
Yeah.
It is the best.
Oh.
Yeah, I love it.
I would love to hear more about that shift between when you made the decision to step away from being a labor and delivery nurse to functioning in a non-medical role as a doula, but also doing lactation. Like, tell us a little bit about that transition.
I loved labor and delivery, but like most nurses, you're understaffed and overworked, and it's a lot. It can be a lot of chaos and a lot of high cortisol.
Yeah.
And I just found that I was not able to connect and sit and emotionally support my families the way that I wanted to. If I had somebody who was unmedicated and I wanted to labor sit them, I wanted to be there with them, I couldn't be there with them the whole time because I was, because I had another patient or because I was helping somebody else with, another peer, another friend, a coworker, right? With an urgent C-section, right? Where it's like all hands on deck and we're all running and doing. So I just didn't feel like I was able to give that full attention, right? As like a steward of this care, of this like miraculous thing. Exactly. Yeah. And it's the emotional part too. So I was actually working with Katie and I was like, I think I want to do that.
What you're doing.
This thing that you have going on, I would also like to explore this.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, let's go. Let's have coffee. Like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's just been, it's been so great because I get to be the translator. I get to be with people when birth is a plot twist, when birth takes a turn, and I get to sit there and I get to say, everything is okay. This is exactly what is happening. This is exactly what they're concerned about. Like if there's an emergency, I get to be that whisper, right? That translator to say, everything is okay. Look at how hard everybody in this room is working right now. Like, you have the A team, everything is going to be fine. That's what I get to do. I get to tell them and reassure and explain to them what it is that's going on around them. And that feels so important to me. Instead of being the one, bless all nurses, instead of being the one who is like, oh, I'm in mode now. I've got to get this, and this. I'm calling this. I'm paging this. I'm getting this ready.
Instead of having to be the medical A team,
100%. I get to be the liaison. I get to be the person to say, this is exactly what's happening right now. This is the concern. If we have time, let's talk about it. Let's go through everything. If we don't have time, being able to say, this is one of those emergencies. This is one of those emergencies, and this is our choice right now.
That's such a gift for folks, I imagine.
I hope
you
so.
have the knowledge, but then also because you're not in the role, you have the time.
Yes.
To sit with them and help them process what might be happening.
Yes. Well, for sure. I hope so. And I feel that, right? That's the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of families is, this would have been so different if you weren't here.
Yeah.
Like, and even just small stuff, right? Because medical personnel, we forget. We come in, we forget. If there's certainly if there's an emergency or something urgent, if there's urgency in the air, we are focused on saving or helping or not escalating things. And so sometimes it can be as simple as like going in for a fundal check, right? And we didn't ask for consent, or we didn't tell somebody what we were doing. Yeah. And so I can say, okay, so-and-so, like Jenny, just a name of a nurse, right? Okay, Jenny is rubbing on your belly right now because we're trying to get that uterus to really contract and stop the bleeding. And we're going to find out very soon where that's at, right? Mm-hmm. Bringing everybody back into the conversation, right? Like, just making sure that everybody is still aware of what's happening. Things are not happening to you, that you have an awareness of the situation around you and why it might feel a certain way. And that's especially true for urgent and emergent situations. Yeah. Outside of that, I get to support, and I get to help, and I get to back up. And I was at a birth recently at Skyridge. Amazing midwives at Skyridge. Incredible. And there was a moment where we were all unmedicated, first baby. There was a moment when there were probably 5 people in the room because we were close to delivery. And every single person, we were just in a silent circle around this person as she's birthing, as she's going through transition. Yeah. Silent circle. And I was just like, this is it. You could feel that energy bubble. You could feel that protection. And everyone understood the assignment. Yes. It was so incredible.
Like, they were ready, but not making it about them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was so beautiful. And I just love that. I love it.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell. I love it. I love how much you love it. So one of the, of course, unique things about you is you bring L&D nurse experience. Sure. You're like incredibly educated on childbirth and lactation as an IBCLC, and you're a doula. What other gifts do you bring to your work?
Oh, I think that there's a lot of levity and humor. I think humor is a really important part of any birth experience.
I do think it's important people know that you're like a stand-up comedian. Oh. I guess it explains a lot.
I've done like a couple of solo things, but improv was really the big thing in Boston for a few years. Yes, that's very true.
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, maybe like 4 years ago. 4 years ago when I moved, right? I stopped like around the same time that I moved here. Okay. Just because of work and stuff, but that's still there, right?
Yeah, she still brings it into the.
There has to be levity, like in certain situations. The greatest, oh my gosh, twin delivery, unmedicated, so gorgeous. And I remember this family telling me during our prenatal, we were talking about stand-up comedy. We were talking about Nate Bargatze. And I'm like, oh, the best, right? So funny, so great. And so when we went in to the hospital for her to deliver these perfect babies, I set up my laptop and put Nate Bargatze's stand-up on. And we were all just sitting in a circle with like the Galaxy projector light on, all the lights dim. Yeah. And she would go through a contraction and we would just watch. We were watching, and then she'd like come out and she'd be like, can you rewind that? And we would just rewatch.
I love that.
Laughing is so good for labor.
Yes.
Laughing is good for labor. It relaxes your pelvic floor. It releases these beautiful endorphins and increases oxytocin. Like, laughing and feeling safe and comfortable It's the best thing in the world. And laughter is literally the closest distance between two people. Like if you can bring people together like that, we are in good shape. Like we are creating a very nice environment for everybody involved, you know, because it's not just me and the family is at the center of everything. And then you have so many other moving pieces. You have techs and charge nurses and regular nurses and the doula and the doctors and the midwives and the anesthesiologist. So if you can like find a way to just glue all of our pieces together, it just makes a huge difference to say we're all on the same team, guys. And laughing is such a good way to do that.
It's a great strategy. And you're a good facilitator of it. And you've answered this a little bit already, well, a lot already, but if you can kind of succinctly describe what does support look like for you? Like when a family comes to you and says, I want you to support me in my birth, what does that mean to you?
I think that for me means keeping them at the center of their experience at all times. That is the most important thing to me. When I did work labor and delivery, I mean, I still do it now, but just being able to sit in front of somebody and being like, how can I make this the best experience for you as humanly possible? And having that be our foundation. And then the knowledge, education, and understanding of birth is unpredictable. And it's really between two people. Right? It's going to be you and your baby, and you're working on this in tandem. Yeah. And we can prepare for as much as we can prepare for. And sometimes that baby got a different plan, right? Or like there's like new information is coming in as your pregnancy is going on or your labor is going on. Plot twist. And how are we going to stay agile and fluid in that, right? And I still think that it all comes back to making sure that you are at the center of that experience. Making sure knowledge is hugely powerful, especially in labor. So to understand what all of your choices are, understanding what your risk tolerance is or what your risk tolerance isn't, especially when there are plot twists that come along, you know, like talks of induction or changes of plan, you know, during the actual labor process. How can we just continue to bring you back to the center so that you have all of the information that you need to make a decision that feels best for you? That feels the most important to me. I feel like that's where the best birth outcomes come from, is when somebody walks away from their birth and they go, that's not what I had planned, but it was still incredible. It was still incredible. I felt respected and heard and listened to. I felt like I was the one who got to make the decisions. I felt like I had all of the knowledge that I needed to make those decisions with my partner, right, about this family. And that gives me power, right? And I'm hoping that that's the way that people walk away. So really just making sure that they're at the center of that experience and surrounded by a team who's going to uplift and support that. You know, if you trust your team, it is much easier to be vulnerable, to release, to surrender, which is totally required. So the team, making sure, helping you like build that team, right? Who's really going to surround you and lift you up in that time.
I think it's really beautiful that you seem to really embody the concept of like birth is not something that happens to you. No. It's something that you do.
Yes.
And so how can you step into that role? And I think particularly you having worked in a hospital setting for so long and having that medical lens, I think that's something sometimes like the medical industrial complex gets criticized for.
Yes.
Is that birth is like something that happens to someone versus actually something that they're doing.
Yes.
And so how do you work together to facilitate that?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, this is it's my favorite, Danielle. My philosophy on birth is that it is a physiological process that sometimes can be benefited by medical intervention when it's asked for by the person who is birthing or when it is absolutely medically necessary. And there is such a happy medium to be found. I love an unmedicated, no to low intervention birth in a hospital setting. So many people feel like that is not attainable for them, that it doesn't exist, that we don't have providers who are medically minded and also physiologically birth minded enough to be able to marry those two things. And we do, especially here in Northern Colorado. We are so blessed. We are so lucky.
Can you speak to a concrete example of something that we have here in this community that maybe you didn't see somewhere else?
Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, a very simple, like most simple terms. When this person was giving birth in Georgia, her provider came in, a midwife, right? Again, and that's the important thing too. Not all providers created equally. Not all midwives, not all doulas, not all OBs, right? We cannot paint everybody with a brush. Yes. And the midwife came in and she said, oh, well, you're 5 centimeters now. And so you can't eat. And I guffawed. water.
And
I was like, and I'm looking over her shoulder and I'm like looking at my friend and I'm like, we're like, oh, okay. And of course I'm asking questions. I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Curiosity, huge.
Yeah.
If we're going to build a bridge, if we're building a bridge, we need to be curious. We need to be curious about the people. Medical providers need to be curious about the person who is coming in and giving birth. And that family also equally, I want them to be curious about what those medical providers are bringing to the table. Yeah. So immediately, right, it is very easy for me to get like, to guffaw. Yeah. And then I'm like, all right, Laura, just take it back. Everybody has to, we always have to kind of like recenter. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Why is that a policy in the hospital? And, basically the answer was, oh, we've just like kind of always done this. And I was like, is it like an anesthesia rule? Like what, just kind of peeling back those layers, trying to figure out where it comes from. Because with that information, my friend can now make a decision about what she's going to do. Does she want to eat? And is the risk of what the midwife is telling her about eating, does that feel important to her so she's not going to eat? Or does the benefit of eating outweigh that risk? Because it is her choice, right? And so it's those things and being curious about that. I find this a lot too with like induction. Providers who are like, I really don't feel comfortable with you going past 40 weeks. There is a reason for that, right?
Why
There's a reason, exactly. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that it has to affect your decision. It doesn't mean that you have to be complacent because again, the family is still at the center of the whole experience. That's where they should remain. And it's okay to be like, I wonder what happened to that person. I wonder why they don't want me to go past 40 weeks, right?
Everyone's stuff comes up in the birth.
Exactly. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that it has to be yours. It just means that your provider's risk tolerance is probably a lot lower than what your risk tolerance might be. And it's okay to see and understand and respect that and then still make a decision that feels best for you.
Yeah. Oh, tell me, because you do lactation and doula work, do most people hire you for both, one or the other?
I feel like I do more lactation than I do of the doula work, of the birth work. Only because of like on-call lifestyle. And I love being in that home. I love being in that home with you and your new baby and helping.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me, right? That feels really, really good to me. And I love birth as well, of course, so much. But I do feel like I am doing like less births and certainly more lactation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when folks come to you wanting to interview you, what are some of the top questions that they ask you?
Oh, sure. A lot of people will ask why I left labor. They'll say, why did you leave the hospital?
And I already asked you that question too.
Yes, I know. It already came up. It's so true. So they'll ask me why the switch. A lot of people will ask me, which I love. I love this question because I also have to be careful in this space. And I love when people are digging deep enough to ask these hard or important questions. If it doesn't come up for them in the initial interview, then often I will ask it. Like, how does it make you feel personally to be considering hiring a labor and delivery nurse, somebody who has a medical degree, somebody who is in the medical system or has been? How does that feel for you? Because everybody has their own interpretation. Like everybody is carrying their own stuff for medical, right? Yeah. People have very interesting relationships and dynamics in terms of how they feel about the hospital or how they feel about medical personnel. So many people, and we see it in our work too, so many people are hiring doulas because they've had an unfavorable experience in a medical setting, and that can be scary. Yeah. So when I come in as a medical professional, some people feel like they feel safer and they feel glad for that interpretation and they feel good about me, being familiar with that landscape and helping them kind of navigate that and navigate the medical jargon and the flow of the hospital, understanding what's going on behind the scenes. And some people feel like, are you just going to side with the medical team? Are you really going to listen to me? Are you really going to go to bat for me? If these are your peers, what is that going to look like for you? Where's that fork in the road? And I love that people are like
asking that question.
Yes, because that's agency. That is agency, and really taking all of these things into consideration. And that automatically lets me know something happened here. Curiosity. Yeah. Something happened here. where you feel this way. And I would love to talk more about that if you want to talk more about that, right? Put my feet to the fire. You know what I mean? I don't have anything to hide, which is great. But I love it when people are able to kind of come forth and ask that question. I had a couple who I just absolutely adore. It was such a wonderful experience for them, but also for me. And that was one of their big things. Like, well, you are a medical professional. Like, what happens? You know, and my answer to that is always, I kind of left that. I left it for a reason, because I wasn't able to support in the way that I wanted to support. It's very different to be hired by a family and knowing like, no, I work for you. And I can still be respectful, and I can still work in tandem and bring everybody together as a team, because that's what I want, right? Like, I don't want friction in the birth room for anybody. Yeah. But if friction has to happen in the birth room, it's okay. You know,
it's almost like you're hiring a personal diplomat.
Yes.
Who can,
oh my gosh,
can speak
so
both
true.
languages.
It's so true. And I think the behind the scenes stuff is my favorite. Being able to go to people's postpartum visits and hear about their birth experience, and then if they want me to kind of share what my lens was. So saying yes, before we went to the OR to push, I went out to the nurse's station and I checked in with the charge nurse, and the charge nurse already had this a text message, that page ready to go and sent to this person just in case we needed them. We had 2 texts ready in case we needed them. The nurse was asking me, hey, does dad still want to catch? I read in the birth plan. Bless, right? I read in the birth plan that dad wants to catch the baby. Does he still want to do that? And me saying, I think it would mean a lot to them if you asked them that question. I think that it would mean a lot if you went in and you asked that question.
Oh, yeah. Just kind of helping to equip everybody to step into.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And just everybody being like, oh, Laura, is it okay if I grab the tea lights and the Galaxy projector? I'm going to go set up the operating room before we start pushing in there for the twins.
Yeah.
It's all of those behind the scenes stuff that that just makes my heart swell for my medical family, right? Because I was a part of that, and I see the work that they're doing, and I see the love and things that they are pouring into this from the other side. And it's so great to also be able to share that with families so that they know like how held they were by people who literally don't even know them, who have never even met them, who are just showing up and being like, oh yes, okay, what can we do? You know, who are clapping on the way at the nurse's station on the way back to the room after you've just delivered 2 beautiful babies vaginally. You know, it's just like, there's nothing better than that teamwork. How great is it to be surrounded by your support person and your doula, and then and your midwife or your OB, and then like the outside of that extra layer of that is like everybody else there too, like is
they have their
cheering for you.
expertise, but also their humanity.
Yes.
It's like it's all present.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. It's one of my favorite things in the entire world. Yeah. It excites me to be able to go back there. There's nothing better to be in community with my friends and be all working towards this beautiful
same goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just the greatest. It's just the greatest thing. Yeah, I love it.
What questions do you wish that people would ask you?
I wish that I'm not sure if it's necessarily what they would ask me, but I wish we had more ability for the pre-stuff. I wish I was talking to people pre-conception.
Earlier.
I wish I was talking to people when they had a positive pregnancy test. I feel like a lot of doulas feel this way, because sometimes people are coming to us in the 3rd trimester and you're like, we're going to do the best we can. Like, we're going to do the very best that we can.
Yeah.
But the foundation for whatever that birth is going to be sometimes has already been set. And sometimes it's a lot of work to deconstruct and try to like rebuild closer to whatever the vision for the family is.
There is always an end date, even when it feels like there's not.
So I wish that we could get people earlier. I wish that we could get people earlier to help them really sit down and envision and think about what it is they want their birth to look like and be like, so that we can match them with providers who are going to uplift that vision.
Yeah.
That matters. It matters more than anything.
Yeah.
I do some work with the CPCQC here in Colorado to lower the rate of primary C-section rates in the state of Colorado. And so we do a lot of education across the state to teach hospitals on how we can lower these cesarean section rates. We're lucky in Colorado. Again, our national average is pretty, like in terms of national average, it's pretty low. I think it's between like 23 and 28% right now. So it's lower than the national cesarean section average. And that varies widely from hospital to hospital. So even the number one indicator of whether or not you're going to have a cesarean section is what hospital you are delivering at.
Mhm.
That is the number one indication. Imagine hearing that when you have already established care with a provider who is delivering at this hospital,
Yeah.
and you're finding out that they don't necessarily, like, maybe this isn't feeling right, it's not really jiving, and, you know, so I wish that we could catch people earlier so that we could set them up with providers who are really, really aligned for them, because their pregnancy and their birth experience is just going to be so much better.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, prenatal education. I wish we, like, that prenatal education is absolutely essential, right? Like, it's essential. It's essential.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you get it from. Foothills has a great program. Kylie and I obviously run Birthdaze.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Peaceful Birth Company, right? That the best.
One of the teachers.
Yes,
Yeah.
like the birth education is a non-negotiable. Having that is so important.
And what would you say to people who are looking for birth education? We do have a lot of options in our community, but again, thinking about aligning with education or with providers, how can people parse through what education track is best for me?
Yes. Oh, I think that's a great question. So we have, I mean, it depends, right? It's all depending, right? So I feel like Peaceful Birth Company has one of the most incredible, first of all, doula. I went through it. You know what I mean? Like that doula training.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got
That's
trained
how
together
Danielle
there.
and I met. One of the best. Like, I was like, this is the most comprehensive, as a medical provider, this is the most comprehensive. It is so in depth. It's absolutely incredible. And I cannot say enough about it. And that rings true as well for the birth education, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's all encompassing, right? Like, we hope that we have the birth education, and then we also have some postpartum. Maybe we have some feeding stuff in there.
Yeah, it's good for people who are looking for, like, I need to know all of it. I need a
Yes.
comprehensive overview.
Yes.
Whereas I know, like, the Birthdaze that you and Kylie run, you have kind of like a specific birth experience that you're teaching towards.
We
right?
do. So
Yeah.
for that class, it's more, how can we have a no to low intervention birth in a hospital setting?
Yeah.
If you want a home-esque birth experience, but you want the safety of delivering in a hospital, that's what that education is encompassing, for sure. Yeah. Whereas if you're planning on a home birth, maybe we have had home birth families in that class before, and that's also nice, right? It's just
Planning
like
in the case of a transfer, how can I still
Yes.
have like a home birth experience in a hospital?
Absolutely. And just that peace and understanding. We ran a class a couple of weeks ago, and one of the clients there was planning on a home birth. And she's like, I'm just so happy to know, right? At the end of the class, I'm just so happy to know that, like, this is still possible, and that people like you are at the hospital and they're waiting for me, and they're going to take care of me.
Yeah.
I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to be scared. Oh, that just makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. So that is, I think, picking those tracks, right? Like, which direction are you going to go in terms of the education?
But that's also related to what you said, like, as early in the process as you can, interrogate, what is it that I'm looking for? What is it I need?
Yes.
And then there's options here.
And then there are so many options. We are so lucky in this area.
for
We are
sure.
so lucky.
Tell me what advocacy looks like for you. I know you mentioned what you feel agency is, which is people asking questions like, you used to work in L&Ds.
Yeah.
Are you going to be advocating for me? But when you are working with a couple, like they've decided to hire you, what does advocacy look like? And can you give an example of a time that's come up?
Oh, goodness, yes. I feel like the informed part, one of the strongest parts of advocacy means so many things, but one of the strongest parts of my advocacy, or what I feel like I am most focused on, is information, is making sure that people have information. It is so easy, and I have been so guilty of this in my 14 years as a registered nurse, acting without explaining, without telling people, what it is that's going on, without offering reassurance, because I'm so in my science mind of, like, I've got in my 100%. And it's hard. It is hard to balance both. It's hard to do both. And so now, on the other side of it, as a doula, having time and space, because the nurses are taking care of all of that for me, and I'm looking at them in awe over all of it, right? Like, look at everything that you're juggling. Like, I know this. I know how hard this is. And I'm so grateful, because now, just like I was with doulas in labor and delivery, I am so grateful that you are here. I'm so grateful that you get to be the one who is here, labor sitting with this family, because I can't be, even though I really want to be, I can't be because of everything else that's going on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you're here. And now I'm so grateful for the nurses that they are there doing the work that they are doing. And I am happy to help and pick up and pick in and do whatever it is that I can. Because we are a team. We are all a team with the family at the center.
Yeah.
But information is the biggest point of advocacy, I think. So one example I can think of is, it was when I was working at PVH. So this wasn't as a doula, it was as a nurse. But I think about this often, and it's just one of those experiences that doesn't leave you, and you just bring it to you are just reminded of it in every sense during birth. This person was preterm. She was like 35 weeks and she was being induced. And she had started her induction probably like 12 hours prior, or, whenever it was. I went in and I reviewed her chart and I'm looking over everything. And I don't understand why she's there. I cannot.
I was about to ask. I was like, she's preterm being induced 35 weeks.
And I could not figure it out. I didn't know why she was being induced.
Yeah.
And so I asked the charge nurse. The charge nurse didn't really know why either. And I asked, the night nurse, who was coming off shift, and they weren't really sure about it either. So I'm digging and I'm digging and I'm digging, and I'm talking to the residents about it. And my biggest concern was that if I don't know, she definitely doesn't know.
Yeah.
She has no idea. Has anyone explained to her what this means? And it turns out the reason, it was a medical reason, and she understood to the point of, okay, I like the risks and the benefits, and the benefits of being induced. She did make that decision. And when I sat down with her at the beginning of my shift to say, so I know that we've started this induction. Do you know why you're being induced? It was just very vague, it was very vague. Like, oh, they told me that like it would be safer for the baby.
Yeah.
And I called a meeting in an empty room and I was crying. I'm like, you guys have to understand, like, I get that I understand that this is medical necessity. I understand that. And sometimes that happens. And this family has no idea why they're here. They don't know why they're having their baby at 35 weeks. They don't understand what it means to have a baby at 35 weeks.
They missed the informed consent.
They don't, correct. They don't understand what it might be like to have a baby in the NICU. They don't understand how this is going to affect feeding. She cannot tell me why we want her to have her baby right now. This is totally unacceptable. She's been here for 2 days. This is unacceptable.
Yeah.
We cannot have this. And they agreed. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where they're like, oh my gosh. And so what do? And so you go back and you apologize.
Yeah.
You sit down and you tell her what's going on, and that felt, and ever since then, it's just like at every turn, I need to make sure that people understand what is happening to them, especially in labor, especially during this like sacred, incredible time. I don't want anybody to leave the hospital and go, what just happened to me? What just happened to me? Like, I feel like that's so many reasons why people come for doulas in births. You don't know what you don't know, but oh my gosh, if I am going to be the person who is going to have anything to do with this family's birth, I'm going to make sure that they understand everything that is going on. I never want somebody to leave thinking that just happened to me and I feel violated
and I
don't know why.
Yeah.
I have way more questions than I do answers. It was completely out of control. I was not in the center of that experience. I was not in the driver's seat of my own birth, of the birth of my child. Yeah. That is like totally unacceptable to me. So I feel like that in terms of advocacy, the informational piece is 1000% paramount, like throughout the pregnancy and at every step during the labor and delivery process.
Yeah. Are you able to share what happened with the client?
She ended up delivering. The induction as it does, but the induction took some days and she did end up delivering, and a very short stint, I believe, in the NICU. So nothing terrible, but also we had the opportunity to educate her on that and set her up and talk about lactation consulting and talk about what that would look like, So it
she
was
did get
all,
the information. It just felt quite late. Like it was like
Yes.
during the process versus beforehand.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, wait, I don't understand. Why is the NICU coming to talk to me?
Yeah.
You know, so just it's all of that, right? We had the pieces. We had everybody in place to do their job, but she still was not. The family was not understanding why they were there.
Yeah.
So just having that informational piece, I think, was really it's important. It's so important.
Yeah. It's essential to your diplomat role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that, hospital diplomat.
Yeah. Who do you feel you are the best fit for, and why?
I feel like I'm going to be the best fit for people who want to have a no to low intervention birth in a hospital setting. I feel like that is the family that I am most well versed for. I am all for home births, right? I'm all for all of that. I'm all for people being able to have the birth experience that they want to have. But I definitely think that I am for the family who wants a no to low intervention birth in a hospital setting. I feel like that is definitely where my strengths lie the most, because I get to see both. I've seen all sides, of it. So I feel like that's definitely playing to my strengths. That's definitely where it is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Who might not be the best fit for you?
I don't think that I would be a good fit for a home birth. I try to match the energy of the room that I'm walking into.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would be my strongest suit because of my medical background and because of that anxiety, right, that my own stuff brings.
So you would bring that into the room.
That I might bring that into the room under certain circumstances, right? If I'm like, it looks like, that bleeding is picking up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I don't want for that, right? I don't want to be bringing in, that's mine. That belongs to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to put that on. I don't want to bring that into anybody's space. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. What is something that you wish every pregnant person knew? And what do you wish that person that has a desire to breastfeed?
That it can be a journey. It's a journey, and there are steps and there are things that you can do to help control the outcome. And ultimately, there are speed bumps that are going to come along. There are plot twists that are going to happen when you're feeding. There are plot twists that are going to happen when you're laboring, when you're having your delivery experience. And just being able to, I think, like having a plan and holding on loosely, right? Understanding that, having that vulnerability, understanding that there is only so much that we can control, and making sure that you have a team around you who is going to make sure that you are prepared and help you do those things, and equally help you let go if you need to, if things aren't going exactly the way that you wanted them to go. And especially for my people who are chest or breastfeeding, your ability to feed your baby that way or any other way is in no way connected or tied to your success as a mother at all.
Yeah.
Your baby wants somebody who's present and happy with them. They don't care, right? They don't care if they were breastfed or not, And so it's okay to do what is also really good for you, right? Research shows us that kids who are happiest have mothers who are happiest.
Yes.
Like, those things are directly connected. So I think that we can strike a balance a little bit better as just like a community and a society in general of okay, and how do we uplift our mom, and how do we uplift her happiness and her security and her confidence, so that can then be translated to the baby? Because we're not just talking about the first year of this kid's life, we're talking about their entire life.
Yeah. So
how can we make sure that happens long term?
And that's something that can start with birth and then continue in the chest feeding, breastfeeding journey.
100%. 100%.
Oh, Laura, how can the people find you?
Yo, fun. Well, I'm I like direct contact.
What does that mean?
I want to talk to people.
Yeah.
The best place is to email me, for sure.
Okay.
Laura@Lulus.care. Laura@Lulus.care.
Okay. I'll put that in the show notes too.
I love you. Thank you. That's the best way. Email me, reach out. I like to be in contact with people. That's my favorite way. I don't want you to go onto Acuity and book a thing. No, just reach out to me. We'll find a date. We'll find a time. That's my favorite. That community. I'm trying to keep that tight.
Yeah.
So that's the best way.
Perfect. And are you on the socials, or is there anyone they want to follow your work?
I am on the socials. You can find me at Laura Your Nurse Doula on Instagram. I do not have a TikTok, and I never will. Never.
You heard it here first.
I'm not going down that path. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And as a doula, I am also under the umbrella of KTD, Kylie Beard, Kylie the Doula,
Yeah.
KTD Doulas. And then, of course, our birth class, Birthdaze. The next one is coming up in May.
Yeah.
And it's going to be held right here in Fort Collins at Impact
Yeah, where can
Chiropractic.
people find if they're interested in birthdays?
Yes, you can go to kyliethedoula.com. So everything is on that website. So you can check out the class there. We're holding it in person as well as virtually. So virtual will run in May, and our in-person will run in May as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll put that link in the show notes as well. And it's important, Birthdaze with a Z. Yeah.
Birthdaze with a Z.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, it's really cute. And will you share like a little bit like why it's called Lulus?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Stop it, Danielle. So I do not have any children of my own. I'm actually in the middle of an egg freezing process. Yes, so you can also follow that journey. This is so new for me. It's something I don't know a lot of people who have done it before.
Yeah.
This is new for me, even being in obviously the realm, my career realm that I'm in. So you can also follow that on socials. I'm like giving updates and talking about pricing and places and kind of like the whole process. I do not have children of my own yet, but I do have 6 absolutely incredible nieces and nephews, and they call me Lulu. So it's called Lulus, and I think of them all the time. Anytime that I see like the logo, or it fills me with so much joy. And my 6 nieces and nephews are literally they're the best. They are my heart. So that's where that comes from. Auntie Lulu.
Yes. Oh, Laura, thank you so much.
Yes, Danielle, thank you. I love you.
No,
This is I'm so happy we got to hang out.
I know, this was nice. It's hard for birth workers to hang out, so we were like very excited to make this happen. Thank you for coming.
I love it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yay.